Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and notes mashup video today, starting with Oleksandr Usyk. So some potential good news. So Mike's sources Coppinger, see here on screen with breaking. Oleksandr Usyk received permission from the Ukrainian sports minister to leave the country during war and will begin training camp for a summer rematch with Anthony Joshua for the unified heavyweight championship, sources tell ESPN. Story coming. So I did check out the story. There was basically nothing more in there of sort of any worth, but overall, if this is true, very good news, because obviously this rematch with Anthony Joshua has been up in the air. So you did have a day or so ago Eddie Hearn saying that perhaps the next fight for Joshua could be Usyk, but he didn't reveal really too much more than that, just saying potentially it could be in June. And if Usyk is allowed to leave for training camp, and they have that fight June, July, somewhere around there, well, this is going to be a big fight for the heavyweight division. Good storylines and a very meaningful fight. Let's face it, very little on the schedule overall. So having another big fight confirmed will be good. You've got Fury White, you've also got Yoka and Bakoli and Zhang Hrgovic. Not too much else sort of confirmed at the stage. Talks of various things, but having another big fight on the ledger will be very good. So here's hoping it does happen. Moving on, Luis Ortiz, miraculous recovery. Remembering he beat Charles Martin and then was ordered to face Filip Hrgovic, or he was given the opportunity, I should say, but declined and then said he had a hand injury. So apparently had some surgery, and now he would like to face Anthony Joshua. This is what the headline says from Boxing Scene, telling them King Kong is back. I'm starting training this week. My rehabilitation of the hand injury is done. I'm ready for anyone, including Hrgovic. If not him, then any of the top contenders. I heard rumours of Joshua looking for southpaw work. I would be honoured to step in for his bout while he waits for Usyk as he defends his beautiful country. My prayers go out to the Klitschko brothers and all the Ukrainian people. So Ortiz seemingly now healthy. He and this is the thing, these guys, and let's face it, we know what it was. Parker, Ortiz, with the injuries, that sort of stuff, there may have been something to it, but, these guys were healthy and now calling for other fights, bigger money fights, bigger fights overall. They didn't want the sort of small end of the wedge for 660 grand, which is what the Hrgovic and Zhang fight has ended up being for purse bids. I mean, if they were honest with the public, I think I'd actually respect it more. It's always been about the money, and now he's saying, I'm willing to face Hrgovic, if not him, someone else. I mean, it kind of seems a little bit late in the day and a little bit feeble to be throwing that out, given the fight was confirmed before you even made these comments. But Ortiz seemingly healthy and ready for a fight, so we'll see what that is. Make of it what you will about wanting to face Hrgovic. I'm not really buying it at this point. I think there was no money for there, and he knows that, and that's a big part of it. Michael Hunter has responded to Eddie Hearn, who has said in an interview that there's no interest in a fight between Derek Chisora and Michael Hunter. Hearn saying, where's the value? Then commenting about Hunter pulling out of the recent Hrgovic fight. So in terms of Hunter, his response on social media saying, lol, miss you too, Edward. I'll get mine soon. And then also going on to say, dude wants to be in his feelings, only wants to cut the check if I sign long-term after releasing me. I should have got a rematch against Povetkin after a draw, which was a final eliminator, GTFOH. So Michael Hunter not too happy. And really, since that draw against Povetkin, which was, at the end of 2019, that was on the Joshua and Ruiz undercard, Hunter has kind of been just really at a bit of a loose end. The pandemic hits, he's then dropped by Eddie Hearn, just, cut from his contract. And he's had a couple of fights on Triller, one where he performed rather poorly against Jerry Forrest. He fought to a draw, but arguably lost that fight, and also had a tune-up fight. So he kind of really hasn't been up to much. But not too happy with Hearn there. But actually, Chisora and Hunter, I don't mind that fight. But clearly, Eddie Hearn is sort of locking him out for now. So Fraser Clark is loving this little interaction that he's had in recent days with Eddie Hearn. And actually, we'll just go to one of the... so originally there had been a photo, and I should really get up the the one with Eddie Hearn. But yeah, this was a photo, but Eddie Hearn had cropped out Fraser Clark on the left here, and this is actually Hearn's body with Ben Shalom on Hearn's body. This was Clark's response to that. But of this whole sort of situation, Fraser Clark, I'll just go back a second. So you had Eddie Hearn explaining he didn't mean to crop Fraser Clark out. It was just a situation. He zoomed in and he thought he was looking great, wanted to sort of, highlight that sort of stuff. He was feeling good, all that blah. He said this in interviews, and that was Clark just being sort of cropped out. Just happened to be, it was what it was. Hey, he's not with us, doesn't really matter. And he said, well, I wasn't going to crop Joshua out on the other side, was I? But Clark saying, looking great, Ed, doing wonders for my socials here, thanking you. So it's been quite funny, this whole sort of situation, and who would have thought that a guy getting cropped out of a photo would generate so many sort of discussions around this whole sort of thing, and to become a thing. I guess that's the age of social media. But Fraser Clark currently working his way back from injury. He had a surgery just the other week. I can't remember which hand it was. I think it was just trying to think from the photo, we'll bring it up actually. Must have been the right hand here. So you can see it here, surgery. So he's back doing some light work recovery, saying discontent is the first necessity of progress. I'm down, but never out. Chipping away, waiting for this hand to heal. I'll be back with a bang real soon. Big phrase. And now moving on to a slate of different heavyweight fights around the division, featuring sort of guys in that sort of top 50 to top 100 range. So some of these are the loser leaves town type fights or prospects coming up. The first one, so you've got Lenroy Thomas and Argon Smakici. And I'll just say, some of these different fights, I'm going to need some help and assistance. I think we're going to need to pool their resources to get the sort of broadcast details, if there are some. Not for this card, because this one here, which is headlined by Marcos Maidana, can you believe it? He's back. But Lenroy Thomas and Argon Smakici facing off each other. You've also got Mike Perez. He's back. So he's yo-yoed between heavyweight and cruiserweight. This is a cruiserweight fight he's in. But this card, headlined by Maidana, this is actually going to be on Fight TV for $10. So this, I think, Argon Smakici and Lenroy Thomas shapes as a reasonably evenly matched fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thomas is one of these guys who's fought at a certain level. Argon Smakici got absolutely smoked by Zan Kosabutsky a couple of years ago, both unbeaten prospects at the time. So he's working his way back. I think this is a good fight, and Thomas may be a favorite. I really haven't sort of seen enough of them recently, but I think it is evenly matched from the outside looking in. This one here, Kevin Lorena, the former cruiserweight, has moved up to heavyweight. This is his second fight at heavyweight. Hasn't fought in about 2 years. He's going to be facing Bogdan Dinu. So this is a WBA sanctioned fight. There's going to be the Intercontinental Championship on the line. And actually, I'll just note, Dinu he must have some nudes of someone at the WBA, because he's been ranked multiple times by the WBA when he hasn't been fought. He's been parachuted into the rankings. You may recall when he fought Daniel Dubois, he was just parachuted in, eventually came up to number 2 without fighting. And now in a WBA Intercontinental Championship fight. And that's one of their biggest sort of trinkets that they have. So the fact that that's on the line here, a little surprising, but Lorena, he's 26-1 at this point, hasn't fought for quite some time, as I say. Only the one fight at heavyweight in recent times, that was back in December 2020, facing Dinu, and I kind of think we know how this fight's going to go. Dinu generally puts up some resistance for 2, 3, 4 rounds, and then once his heart goes, a little bit of pressure comes on, he'll quit. And then basically start jumping onto the canvas. Just kind of is what it is with Dinu at this point. I know some people might think that's a little harsh, but hey, the guy's got form here. Another fight, and this is kind of sort of gone way under the radar. Marcin against Rydell Booker, and Rydell Booker having previously fought the likes of Filip Hrgovic, also Jermaine Franklin. He's now 40 years old or just over. He's facing Shui. He's 24-0, and if I was to do another version of Pretender and Contender, he would certainly feature in that. Very bloated record, and Rydell Booker probably shapes as maybe his toughest fight, or at least something close to it. But again, seemingly evenly matched. This is not an 80-20 sort of fight. I think it's more maybe 60-40 in terms of Shui. But I mean, I don't know really how good he is because he's got such a bloated record. Moving on, you've got a step-up fight for the 6'9" Ukrainian Oleksandr Zakhozhyi, who has been residing in Germany for a number of years now. So he's going to be facing the tough, durable Evgenios Lazaridis. So this is a bit of a tough cover because Lazaridis is no pushover, and Zakhozhyi's blown a little bit hot and cold. He's obviously got height and some decent boxing skills, and he should be able to, work behind the jab. But Lazaridis is a tough customer, and it's quite interesting because this fight is on the Felix Sturm card. I'm not sure where this is being broadcast in terms of internationally. Did check on Fight, couldn't see anything. There have been some Sturm cards in recent times that have featured on Fight, but these two guys, at some point recently, you had Oleksandr Zakhozhyi. He is managed by FICA Sports Management. So this is a post just from January. So I'm assuming it's still, he's still a FICA Sports Management fighter. But so too Evgenios Lazaridis. So it's quite interesting that they've made this pairing because I think, this is quite a tough fight for Oleksandr Zakhozhyi. I would say that this is this a step too soon? I'm not too sure. I mean, it's certainly a step up from some of these other guys that he's been facing. I mean, Pavel Sauer's not too much chop, and some of these other guys more recently have been sort of quite faded and, limited in some aspects of their game. But Lazaridis, a more sort of well-rounded fighter, this could actually be quite tough for him, quite evenly matched. It wouldn't surprise me if he lost. Could be one of those banana skin type fights. And another fight that I've covered recently on the channel is one that's coming up, and I'm still not sure if there's any sort of international coverage of this one, is Christian Thun versus Amron Sands. So Thun, unbeaten prospect, Sands just one loss on the ledger, also seemingly a well-matched fight. So looking forward to catching some of these fights if we can actually find out where some of them are going to be broadcast. So if you do have some leads on some of these, let me know. Drop a comment. Loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.